right in the middle of Wolverhampton. It's so noisy. I've got the road behind me, I've got the train station, and I've got these going off in the background. Before I take my boat, this thing here, right through that way and down 21 locks to the next mooring space, I want to find out a little bit more about the local canal history and also why the canal is so clear. It's got to be the clearest water I've ever seen on any canal. Right, first off, I've got this sign here and it says Birmingham Main Line Trail, and it's just for people walking alongside the canal, which I've noticed a real sharp increase since the coronavirus lockdown. It says in Wolverhampton the canal was moved to make way for the railway in 1850. The two routes worked together for many years. Many factories stood on the canal banks and had their own loading wharves. To be honest, this sign doesn't actually tell me a lot. When I'm finding out about a place, I normally look on the internet and maybe even ask a few locals. But it's so hard to find out exactly what the history was in terms of how the canals were used, how the courses of the canals were changed over the years. You just got to piece it together and just have a look at it as now. So that's what I'll be doing today, just going through these locks and imagining how it looked 250 years ago, just experiencing what it's like now. But I can't get over this water, it's so clear. You see some fish through the water there, just about. Right, my first step with these set of locks is to open this gate, because the water is level. I haven't got to let any through. That's the gate opened, and now I just have to take my boat in here and I'm away. Quite simple so far, but this is the thing with these kind of journeys. Literally anything can happen, and usually does. Be cutting my engine every time I go into one of these locks, because I've recently discovered that a diesel engine like this, like the one I've got, the pistons inside, they're continually going round even if it's idling. So even if it's not in gear. So I'm just going to cut the engine and save wear and tear on it, but it's lasted about 40 years, same age as the boat, so probably be alright, won't it? But because the engine's so loud, it's actually quite hard to be heard over it when you're trying to speak about canal history. This is a good sign, isn't it? British Waterways put this up. I don't know the exact history, but I do know that British Waterways did run all these canals until about 2012, when I think the Canal and River Trust was formed and they took over. But I love these signs and I hope they always remain. Just before I let the water out of this lock and then let the boat down so it's ready to go on to the next section, there's another information board here. This is from the Canal and River Trust. Yeah, I'm not so much of a fan of their graphic design. Yeah, so here we are, Wolverhampton locks, 21 to do to get down to Aldersley Junction, and then from there I will join the Staffordshire and Worcestershire Canal. It's 1:30. Really got to get cranking because I've got 21 locks to do all on my own, so let's just get going. Straight away I've got a major issue here, and that is that there's a safety lock on the paddles. These are the things that actually let the water out, and I can't open them because I haven't got the right key. It's somewhere on my boat, but I just can't remember where. Just bear with me. Right, well, while I'm looking for that, let's add some people to the Crank It crew. This is how I fund my voyages on YouTube. You can select a membership level from £1 up to £8.50, and then you get your name in the book. There's a bit of a backlog at the moment, so let's get through this. Lewis Payne, Jerry Pavier, El Professor, Pedro Thwaites, Mark and Angie Steele, Will Swan, Paul Ayala, Mark B, James Morris, Kevin Dews, and Bernie and Val Warner, who get little red flags next to the name, just like some of the others there, because they are producers going in at the top level. Thank you to all of the Patreon supporters. More shout outs to come soon. Cheers! Supposed to do that. Ah, yes. There it is. After turning my boat upside down, finally I found the key that I need, and it's this one here. It's a, I don't know, a lock vandal key or something, because that's what they're there for. They're to stop water being lost. So what I need to do is just place this, stick it in a hole, turn it round, and there we go, it pops open. It does make everything really tedious, but if it saves me from getting stuck in low levels of water, then I'm fine with that. Now, I've no idea if you've been on a boat before, like this one, or travelled through a canal, but the next stage here is just to open these gates. But I've got to wait for my boat to just move back a little bit, and it does it on its own. Isn't that magical? But right here is a perfect opportunity to see how these paddles work on the lock gates, because the water is just so clear. There you can actually see some of the water escaping and also actually coming back in again, because the water is level. But yeah, that's a paddle, and that lifts up. It's like a gate, it lifts up to let water out. Right. These are narrow locks. Sometimes the locks are a lot wider, but these ones are actually just narrow enough for me to jump across. I better put the camera down before I do this. This year I've been asked by many first-time boaters, why is it that these paddles have to be wound down again? Why can't we just leave the gates open and just carry on the journey? And the simplest reason I can give is that it just makes it easier for the next boater that follows you down into these locks. So I'm opening these gates, but if I was to leave these open, the next boater who is following me down through these locks would of course have to shut them themselves, and, as I'm pointing out, winding down the paddles as well. A quick check is always done to see if any other boats are coming, because then I could leave the gates open for them, but in this case no one's following me in or out of this lock, so I can just reset the anti-vandal mechanism. Right, the gates are open, I can take my boat through, but how do I get back on my boat? Well, there are ladders on the locks, on most locks anyway. It weren't always there, because these canals weren't designed for solo cruising. They're designed for teams of people and a horse pulling boats along, so yes, that was not their priority to give me a way of getting them back on my boat, but luckily I've got long legs and I can just hop down from up here. That's quite dangerous if you're not used to it, if you're not experienced. But I've been doing this for 5 years, so sort of know what I'm doing. Just before I turn the engine back on and leave this lock, you can see the back end here, and if you were going that way, this is where the nose would rub against the gate, and there's a sill here. That's why you've got to watch out when you're coming down. You're not supposed to catch on that. But yeah, it's still here after hundreds of years. It's incredible. But just before I'm about to leave this lock, I bump into a local, so I try to ask them. Do you know why the water's so clear? No, it's mental, isn't it? Because they're all over the
no, he didn't know either.
Cloudy. Right, 1 down, 20 to go.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Canals that run through cities are hotspots for crime, for scoring drugs, maybe picking up various sexual partners, you name it. Anything can go down on the canal. But luckily for me, the people I met on the day I travelled through were all absolutely brilliant and really helpful.
Cheers. Well, I've met some amazing people so far, just helping me through the locks, and another one I've meant to meet up with for a long time. There's a guy called Matt, and he's local to this area, so he can help me through these next locks. Yes! Cheers, Matt. He loves it. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you know why the waters are so clear around here?
No idea.
Yeah, no one seems to know. I've got to find out. God, someone's got to know this. Next time on Robbie's Voyage Logs, we've dropped one of the windlasses in the lock. Whoa. I need one of those magnet fishing YouTubers to pop along or something. 40 quid G's just gone like that. Brilliant. You only live once, don't you? Almost there, it's got 3 locks to go. But I've got these midges out. Thanks for watching. Bye!